security bill is ratified. 8 years, British borders will remain. Deportation of illegal immigrants will continue. Day 1000 of the siege of Seattle.
The Muslim community demands an end to the army's occupation of mosques.
There is a trend out there where mothers are actually keeping the umbilical cords of their child and turning them into jewelry and decorations.
Myself and others have been absolutely shocked and appalled by what we've read in a mainstream newspaper. And I cannot believe that they're actually saying this in public. Killing babies is no different from abortion, experts say. I thought when I read this that this was some kind of anti-abortion piece, saying that killing babies is bad, and so is abortion because it's killing babies. But no, this is actually trying to justify and put forward a case to kill children, once they're born. Parents should be allowed to have their newborn babies killed because they are morally irrelevant, and ending their lives is no different to abortion. A group of medical ethicists, completely ethical, linked to Oxford University, has argued, and I cannot believe that they're actually saying this in public. This is Nazi eugenics. I mean, what else is there to say about that? This is absolutely sick. It's trying to justify the murder of babies. So if abortion wasn't bad enough, and many people eventually tolerated and accepted abortion as if it wasn't murder, now it's gone a step further. All of their agenda is like this. It starts with one thing and it gets gradually more and more evil, incrementally, so that people get used to it each time.
Look at the strategy that Satan has used thus far, and I remember my dad telling me what a big deal it was when Gone with the Wind came out.
Red! You go. Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Nobody up to that point had ever heard a curse word in a movie before. That was like a big deal, okay? So if you could imagine Satan coming out with a Pulp Fiction at that time, I mean, it would have been just too beyond shocking for the people of that time to be able, you would have such a backlash to it that you would defeat the purpose of what you were trying to do. So what he's done over time is he started out with that, and it got everybody curious and was interesting, and you had a little bit more, and now we've digressed down to what we are now, to a Scarface or to a Pulp Fiction where every other word is some kind of obscenity. And people really don't even pay that much attention to it, okay? It's no big deal anymore, okay?
And then what's in the future? If people are desensitized to this, which is in itself absolutely awful, then, killing Christians, for example, is not going to be, people are going to be so desensitized by the end of it. The article published in the Journal of Medical Ethics says newborn babies are not actual persons and do not have a moral right to life. The academics also argue that parents should be able to have their baby killed if it turns out to be disabled when it is born. How is this any different to Nazi Germany? I mean, how many people out there are outraged when they read this? For me, it's like one of those articles that you read, you think, am I actually reading this? Is this actually happening? The journal's editor, Professor Julian Savulescu, director of the Oxford Uehiro Centre for Practical Ethics, said the article's authors had received death threats since publishing the article. He said those who made abusive and threatening posts about the study were fanatics opposed to the very values of a liberal society. Wow. This is liberation, is it? This is freedom. The freedom to kill children and, just in the same way that they used to offer sacrifices to Moloch and Baal. And they used to sacrifice their children as an offering. So this is the values of a liberal society, and anyone who disapproves with the killing of infants is a fanatic who is opposed to the freedom of our social, The article entitled After Birth Abortion, Why Should the Baby Live? Was written by two of the professor's former associates. They argued the moral status of an infant is equivalent to that of a fetus in the sense that both lack these properties that justify the attribution of a right to life of an individual. Rather than being actual persons, newborns were potential persons. Unbelievable. So now we've gone from the fetus not having the right to life to the infant not having the right to life. Then what's next? People with conflicting opinions to the wider social demographic, such as religious beliefs not having a right to life. The disabled. As it says here, the academics also argue that parents should be able to have their baby killed if it turns out to be disabled when it is born. That is exactly what it is. And dehumanization is a consistent component of genocide. This is what it is, dehumanization. It's reducing that child to a less than human state. It's saying it's not an actual person. Newborns were potential persons. It's not a person in the sense of a subject of moral right to life.
For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, When I was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, O God! How vast is the sum of them! Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I awake, I am still with you.
As bad as this is, it does not stop here. It will keep getting worse until they are literally justifying the murder of anyone that disagrees with their propaganda, with their liberal agenda. The liberal agenda will love you to death. As we've said all along, the most merciful thing that a large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it. Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood, from her book Women and the New Race. And it all comes back to eugenics, the Nazi agenda, and America's campaign to create a master race. Look at this, war against the weak. It began on Long Island and ended at Auschwitz, and yet it never really stopped. Sacrificing children here on the altar of Baal and Moloch. We've already allowed the abortion of children in our society on the altar of whatever gods we serve, whether that be money, convenience. But now it is going a step further. Would you believe it? I can't quite believe what I'm reading. Killing babies is no different from abortion, experts say. And that is, in a sense, true, because killing babies is no different from abortion. Because abortion is still killing babies. But now they're using it to go a step further and to justify, in their eyes, from the so-called experts at Oxford University, that it's somehow ethical to kill an actual born baby. And as Jesus said, due to the increase in wickedness, the love of many will grow cold. And that is exactly what's happening. This is so wicked, and yet it's being printed in the Telegraph newspaper, and they say that we are the ones that spread hate by just merely pointing out the truth that this is murder, this is evil, and so many of the things that are being pushed in this liberal agenda in society are evil. And they say we're evil for telling it as it is and pointing to the truth and the morality of the Bible, which protects us and protects little children, innocent children like this.
Called The New World Order, which was written by A. Ralph Epperson, who's written several of these types of books on the New World Order. Now, this was written in 1989. Okay, so let's take a look at what they wrote here, or he wrote. The New World Order will include changes in the family. Homosexual marriages will be legalized. Parents will not be allowed to raise their children. The state will. All women will be employed by the state and not allowed to be homemakers. Divorce will become exceedingly easy. Monogamous marriages will be slowly phased out. The workplace. The government will become the owner of all factors of production. The private ownership of property will be outlawed. That's Agenda 21, of course. Religion. Religion will be outlawed, and believers will be either eliminated or imprisoned. There will be a new religion, the worship of man and his mind. All will believe in the new religion, the New Age religion, of course. So this book was ahead of its time, obviously. There you go. I mean, this is exactly what's happening right at this moment. I mean, we're seeing marriage being attacked, religion being attacked. They ridicule religion everywhere. You see it in the music industry, how all the hip-hop stars come out and claim that they're God. They mock God.
what is going on with the after-school Satan program. It's important for people to know this if it's coming to their state, to their town, so they can do something about it. And what they can do is they can go and protest to the school board. They can pull their children out of these schools because, like I've said a million times, and I'll say it a trillion more, these after-school Satan programs, which are there to indoctrinate and lead children towards Satanism, indoctrinate them with magic and witchcraft, even though they pretend that it's an after-school science club. Despite that, the Satanic Temple then goes into other schools that hand out Christian doctrine, and they hand out their satanic coloring book, which is filled with teaching kids how to draw pentagrams, how to perform magic, making magic look fun, showing them the Baphomet, all sorts of just hypocritical crap, because they expect the lukewarm Christian to not care. They expect a lukewarm Christian to think it's no big deal because they know that they can keep them under my control. Well, not this Christian, because I'm not lukewarm, and I do care. Very much so about the youth of this world, very much so about these children who are innocently being targeted by these scumbag lowlife Satanists. As most of you remember, Mr. Pigman Eye here, this guy with one color, one eye, and no color in the other eye. Looks like somebody might have shot something in his eye, if you get my drift. This guy is specifically one of the leaders of the Satanic Temple. He is targeting innocent children around the country. He is targeting schools to get this program in, and he is threatening with lawsuits if they do not allow the after-school Satan program into the public school systems. And right now they're targeting schools that have Christian after-school programs. They're already getting away with it in a few states. And like I said, with all these things that they do to indoctrinate people, they get it in there. At first, people are a little skeptical. Then they come out and they go, look, nothing bad's happened. The boogeyman hasn't shown up. Your kid's not at home killing animals. Your kid's not at home committing human sacrifice. All these Christians are lunatics. It's not a big deal. These kids are actually being more, useful in society. They're being less hateful because we're pulling them away from Christianity and the Bible. They try to preach that the Bible's filled with hate, that our God is a God of hate and jealousy. It's all ridiculous crap that these Satanists spew. The media eats it up because obviously the media is in cahoots with them. But let me get to the point of this story after explaining a little bit about this after-school Satan program, and I'll get back into it at the end here. The school is now planning to hit the Bible Belt. The after-school Satan program is hitting the Bible Belt. Beginning in the fall, Texas will now be targeted and will now be introducing this after-school Satan program into its public schools. It's an article from a local ABC affiliate says a new religious program led by Satanists is pushing to expand into the Bible Belt this fall. It's called the After School Satan Club, and instead of worship, it teaches activism. Oh my goodness, is that so? Let's look at the things the After School Satan program is active in promoting. Pro-abortion. I wonder why. Oh, they'll tell you it's because they care so much about women's rights, and they care so much about women, and they just want to do what's in the best interest of women. So why is it that they target Christians or anybody who is anti-abortion? Not because they care about women's rights, because it's about the sacrifice of the child. These children who are aborted, these fetuses that are aborted, are used in satanic rituals. The fetuses, the dead babies that come out, they take them, they ship them around, they eat them. They are cannibals, these people. They don't just bury them. They need these aborted children for rituals. This isn't like back in the day where they had to literally start kidnapping young kids, even though they still do that. Now people are willingly giving their children up as ritual sacrifices to these people as their satanic covens continue to grow around this country. So they teach activism, folks. Yep. And if you go look at their website, the only things that they go against is they go against anyone who is against abortion, and they go against anyone who claims to be a victim of satanic ritual abuse. What a surprise. They go against anyone who claims that SRA, satanic ritual abuse, is real. Anyone who believes MK Ultra and trauma-based mind control is real. Those are the only things they care about. Those are the only things they target. Must be a coincidence, right? You gotta be stupid to believe these liars. These Satanists are the masters of lies. They're the lowest form of scum on the earth. They think they're tough. They think they're cool. They think that they're getting away with this. God is watching, and these guys are gonna get pitchforks shoved up their rear ends on Judgment Day if they don't repent and find Jesus Christ and stop targeting these poor innocent souls. So they go on to say instead of God, they teach evolution, rationalism, and free inquiry. Oh, yeah. Oh, first of all, evolution, so they teach lie upon lie. These people aren't rational because they shove their mindset down everyone's throat, which is do what thou wilt, and nobody argues it because they go, yeah, let's do what we want. The article talks about some people in the town calling it evil. One woman says, I think kids at the age shouldn't be involved with that kind of stuff, you know? It doesn't sound good to me. That person's right. Stacy McDonald says, it's terrible. Jacqueline Johnson says, some kids will take it too far and do different things that is not nice to other people. Obviously, these sound like pretty fake statements. A huge concern for parents who are watching the program gain traction is this. One woman says, we should learn about Satan, but we should learn about the truth. The fact is he's a liar and he can't tell the truth, and he's all out for killing, stealing, and destruction. There's nothing good about anything he does, and he's not any good for anybody unless they want to be like him. I agree, Kelly McCabe, McCabe, even though it's a bit of a skeptical name. He is out for nothing but good. But again, folks, we're all idiots, right? They take on the name of Satanic Temple, but they don't believe in Satan. Yet they use a pentagram, which is used in witchcraft and sorcery, as their logo, and the transgender homosexual fag, the Baphomet, is who they worship. They said the Satanic Temple is seeking school district approval at public grade schools in Atlanta, Detroit, Washington, Portland, Oregon, Arizona, Los Angeles, and other state cities in Texas include Carco, San Antonio, and Austin, Texas. Satanic Temple member Jeremy Galloway says the clubs have nothing to do with the devil or religion at all. Looks like Jeremy Galloway thinks we were all born yesterday and we're supposed to believe the lies and be naive fools because we're Christians. Get the turd out of your mouth, Jeremy. No one's buying it. He said there's no red guy with horns and a pitchfork. Despite the logo of the group, a cartoonish devil with horns holding a crayon, Galloway said parents should look past the name before making any irrational judgment. Oh, okay. So it's only in your logo, it's only in the teachings, the Satanic Bible. You pretend you don't follow Crowley's teaching. Sure, we'll all believe it. Not on my watch. That's why channels like this need to continue on to call out these liars and these scumbags. He said Satan's involved because it's coming from our temple, the temple of Satan, and we identify as Satanists. We don't feel any particular shame for the name that we use. Some people find the name a bit jarring, but when you actually look into the tenets of the Satanic Temple, there's nothing scary at all. Well, of course not, because it's a fake, it's a front, it's a cover. Their tenets are nothing but lies. They pretend to be accepting of everyone. All of them relate to the do what thou wilt mindset. That's what their tenets are. Respect other people, love one another. This is how they're sucking people into Satanism. That's why you hear people like The Rock say, "Hail Satan." These people are all Satanists, and they're pushing this as if Satanism, this enlightenment that people are going to find, is not hateful, it's loving. And it's not really worshiping, a guy with red horns, because they try to, caricature it by talking about Satan as if he's some big red guy with horns. The whole thing is an absolute joke. And now it's coming to Texas. So I wanted to do this video to make people in Texas aware, to make sure you know what's going on in your kid's school. I understand that people, parents have to work both jobs because they've created this system this way, this system of debt and this system of struggling and being in debt to this and enslaved to them, to the elites. So mothers and fathers both have to work. So it's hard to, you got to send your kid to school. It's unfortunate. But make sure that this crap isn't going on in your school. Make sure your kids are not victimized by this. And make sure if you know this school that you voice your opinion against the school board. Now, these Satanists will always come with lawsuits, and then the school board will back down and go, well, we don't want to get sued, by the Satan. We can't afford a lawsuit. We got to be fair. We already see the Baphomet statue out in public. Now we see the monument they're erecting in Minnesota for veterans. These people are liars and deceivers. They're not activists. Their main job is to spread the do what thou wilt mindset, cloak it under Satanism as atheism, and indoctrinate people with witchcraft the same way that they've been doing it through the television sets, through watching Harry Potter, through playing board games like the Ouija board and other things that indoctrinate children with witchcraft and sorcery, magic cards, all that crap, that nerd crap that they push down people's throats. That's what they're doing. It's an indoctrination, and they're targeting our children. All of the children who are teens now, who are even under teens, who are in elementary school, they are targeting them. And they don't want us to speak out against it because they don't think that we're going to be able to do anything about it, but we can. The power of prayer, the power of your voice. People tell me this channel, it's helped them find God. No, I haven't helped anyone find God. I have a powerful voice that God gave me. That's my gift. But God's come to you. If you pick up your Bible and read it, you find salvation on your own. I don't bring that to you. But you also have a gift of discernment. Because if you're listening to this channel, that means God has woken you up to what's going on. And it means that you need to also fight back against this, because there are children who are being targeted by these scumbags. We could have a generation of kids who are raised in these after-school Satan clubs, who grow up to be Satanists and raise their kids as Satanists. We have to put our foot in the sand, draw a line in the sand, and cut the crap. Because these are lies. Show people that these are lies. Ask people if they claim to be activists, then why, when you look at their website, why, when you look at their Twitter, or anything they're involved in, do they only care about abortion? Oh, because the teachings of the occult and Satanism all revolve around the sacrifice of babies and infants, which goes back to Baal worship in the Old Testament. You think we were born yesterday? And the other thing they target is they go after people who claim to be victims of satanic ritual abuse because they want to label it a witch hunt and they want to say it's satanic panic. It's not satanic panic. None of us are panicking at the sight of you guys. You're losers. I'm not afraid of any of you, and I know people listening to this channel aren't afraid of some dorks with black lipstick and black t-shirts who wear the stupid pentagram and the homosexual Baphomet on their shirts. Oh, I'm so scared. I'm shaking in my boots. Let me show you how bad I'm shaking in my boots. No such thing as satanic panic. How about satanic scum? There is no panic. It's nothing but lies that you're pushing, and then you use trigger words like satanic panic and conspiracy theory to trick the masses because they know that those words are trigger words, and they know people out there will dismiss it as being fictional when it's truth. They know exactly how they're operating, what they're doing, what their plans are, and their plans are to go after kids. So After School Satan now coming to a town near you, spreading to Texas, and like I said, as long as stories don't come out, and they won't come out because the media will suppress it, as long as stuff doesn't leak about, oh, such bad things are coming from this, it'll spread into every public school in the country. Mark my words, it is happening right now, and nobody seems to be doing anything, speaking out against it, or talking about it, except small affiliate channels in the local area. This is one article talking about how they're coming to the Bible Belt. No other channels picking up on it. And by channels, I mean all forms of media, not YouTube channels. I'm talking about, the mainstream media is not talking about it. You're not seeing other articles come out who have, get more viewers. Just these small affiliate channels like the local ABC Channel 3 bringing it up. It's a disgrace how they're hiding this and they're letting it spread. And every one of these articles, you see the same thing. They don't really worship the devil. It's just, they use it for a cool name. Yeah, give me a break.
We live in times right now, church, where we need to rise up and see that the enemy is doing things. The Bible tells us that we can't be ignorant of Satan's devices. And the sad thing is, most pastors are not talking about this. I know the majority of your churches are not dealing with these issues, and that is why it's important to have these type of ministries that look at these world events from a biblical worldview, and you need to encourage your church and your pastors and your friends and everyone to start doing this. We live in critical times, and if we can't see what the Word of God has to say, we're not going to have a light on these things. We're not going to really see. And realistically, when a child is deciding to, explore the other sex when it was clearly born physiologically a boy, physiologically, biologically, at the chromosome level, a girl, there's confusion going on there. And the Bible clearly says that Yahweh, God the Father, Abba, is not the author of confusion. An author is someone who gives birth to something. If I was to author a book, I would write it. So he does not write confusion into the lives of people. This comes from the enemy. If you're engaged in this type of confusion or any type of confusion about things that just in this life, you can know that the source and the author of that is not God. And in fact, it's Satan doing exactly what Satan does: disorder and confusion. So be on guard, be vigilant. But this manifesting in our world, this shows that Satan culturally is grabbing us. There's a grip that he's taking socially in the culture here today, because now we see a society who at large is embracing this confusion and disorder as normal. So they're normalizing the sin, they're normalizing the depravity of man and accepting it. And trust me, later on, they're even going to go as far as saying that transgenders are blessed. I remember watching an episode of Oprah way back in the day after they had The Secret, and they had a couple of their teachers, and on their satanic teachers, teachers on there, and they were talking about the fact that being gay was a blessing from God. So trust me, down the road you will see that this also, they will consider it a blessing. And it is a blessing to them and their God. It's Satan, but they are on the path of destruction. The wrath of God abides on them, and they are satanically deceived.
Our new Secretary of Education in Florida recently appointed AIR to receive the $220 million contract for end-of-course exam testing. Please go on their website. Click the link to what they're doing with youth, and you will see what their agenda really is. They are promoting as hard as they can any youth that is interested in the LGBT agenda, and even name it 2-S, which they define as having two spirits. The Bible says a lot about being double-minded. These people that will now receive $220 million from the state of Florida, unless this is stopped, will promote double-mindedness in state education and attract every one of your children to become as homosexual as they possibly can.
Education, if you take any look at what's going on in schools at the moment, sex education is just being rammed in the faces of children, ever younger, 5-year-old, and this is to get the children sexualized. And the reason they want them sexualized is because the plan is for the age of consent to be removed. And if you actually follow what Stonewall has been doing, they've steadily been pushing for the age of consent to be lowered. But behind the scenes there was, well, it should be lowered to 5. But what I'm going to tell you is they want to get rid of the age of consent altogether, because in the new regime, paedophilia is to be, inverted commas, normal and acceptable.
I believe in all my heart that God's laid something on my soul that you need to hear. This may very well be the church's finest hour. This may be a moment where the church rises to what it ought to be. This church in America may become what Yamamoto said, waking a sleeping giant. It could be that the forces of hell have stirred the pot too many times. It could be that they pushed a little bit too hard. It could be that they've got their way and they don't realize what their way is going to produce. For I believe if there are millions of Christians in this country, if there are millions of born-again believers in America, my friend, they have wakened a sleeping giant. It could be that for the first time since America has been a nation, that those people that name the name of Christ will finally come together and say, we do have a common enemy. We've got a purpose, we've got a call, we've got a goal. And is there not a cause? Is there not a cause today? Has not enough happened to stir you up? Or what else needs to be done? Do they need to come through the door and take your kids and carry them out the back door and say they're ours now? We're going to turn them into sodomites and homosexuals and all of that? What will it take to awaken the church in America?
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
This is an Illuminati ideal because they've long wanted to become androgynous themselves due to their beliefs that God is a perfect being that consists of both woman and man.
The formation of such people of the future begins in special kindergartens.
By mandating the tranny bathroom, the government, aka elites, are trying to gauge how well their chemical gender bender poisoning systems are working at messing with the genders of the kids. Most likely a student will have to fill out some paperwork given by the teachers as to what bathroom they are using. Okay, this paperwork questionnaire will be recorded and sent up the chain to the government, aka the elites. They will then use this data to determine if more gender bender chemicals are needed to screw with the genders of the kids. Also, knowing the genders of the kids will likely be used to put these kids into special accelerated programs.
The formation of such people of the future begins in special kindergartens.
Also, knowing the genders of the kids will likely be used to put these kids into special accelerated programs. Listen to this now. The genders of the kids will likely be used to put these kids into special accelerated programs. The gay kids will get access to accelerated and leadership programs so that they are pushed into positions of power.
The formation of such people of the future begins in special kindergartens. Here is one such preschool institution in Sweden. The kindergarten Egalia has been operating since 2010 in Stockholm. Here the children are treated as if they have no gender. Instead of han or hon, which is translated from Swedish as he or she, a child is called hen, which means it.
To put these kids into special accelerated programs.
But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea.